Hey everyone. So some of you know that I had coronavirus, and some people had some questions and were curious as to what I went through. And since California is on lockdown right now and I don't have any children to make my life more miserable, I thought I would go ahead and answer those questions. And while I do, I hope you all enjoy my post-COVID scruffy mountain man look, which can be yours for the low, low price of a double cheeseburger from McDonald's. My case was mild, certainly compared to a lot of other people, but it certainly had moments that I personally could have done without and don't really wish to experience ever again. Hell yes. It was scary before I got COVID, and it was definitely terrifying when I got COVID. Figuratively speaking, I was crapping in my pants. And during my time, I had a loss of appetite, so I had no desire to eat anything for 4 days, and I hardly ate anything. So if I would have, I would have literally been crapping in my pants. It was scary before getting COVID, it was scary during having it, and it's also scary now because we don't know the long-term effects of COVID-19. My symptoms included fever, hangovers, fever, headaches, fatigue, aches, chills, pains, loss of sense of smell, and loss of sense of taste. Food-wise, my taste in movies remain the same. I had a fever almost every day where I would get one and then it would break at night when I was sleeping. So throughout the night I would literally wake up about 3 or 4 times, and I would have to change my t-shirt because it would just be stuck to me because it was soaking wet, along with my sheets as well. And I'm sure this is just a lovely story that you're all just really enjoying to hear. I certainly think that it's a great story, and I should put it in my sexy moments on my dating profile, because I think it's a winner, and quite possibly is going to win over a lot of hearts. So I did have some aches and chills that would come and go throughout having COVID. I also had pain. One morning I woke up and my thighs felt like they had run a marathon, and the bones in my legs just felt like somebody had taken a sledgehammer and just crushed all the bones in them. And that pain would come and go, so it would fluctuate. And that lasted for about a day, and then the next day my arms felt the same thing. It felt like somebody had literally taken a sledgehammer and just crushed all the bones in them, and that pain fluctuated as well. Certainly, I mean, if somebody was around with an axe, I would have been that close to asking them to just cut my arms off. Certainly not an experience I really wish to go through again. My headaches got to be pretty severe, especially when I watched TV or stared at my computer screen. So I had to limit myself when I watched Netflix, Disney, or Pornhub. I'm just kidding, I don't have Disney. But my headaches did get to be pretty severe, so I had to find other ways to, I guess, like counter that. Unfortunately, Anne Hathaway wasn't willing to come over and read me bedtime stories. So what I ended up doing was I would listen to music quite often. Mostly I listened to movie soundtracks, or I would listen to sounds of nature like rain or thunderstorms, because I found that to be a little bit soothing for me. And ironically, one night I found comfort listening to Alice in Chains. If you're not familiar with Alice in Chains, they're a grunge band that has some nice, happy-go-lucky, cheery songs, such as Down in a Hole, Man in the Box, and We Die Young. But also for my headaches, one of the big things that I did to help cope with that was I took Tylenol. So that's something that I do recommend. I didn't get a whole lot of fatigue compared to a lot of other people, though I was tired and I did feel drained, but I did have enough strength to where I could get out of bed and go to the bathroom without a problem for myself, though if I moved around for a few minutes, I would really start to feel tired, but I was very fortunate in that aspect. I was very lucky that I did not experience shortness of breath. That was the one thing that was certainly weighing on my brain a lot during the time of having COVID. But fortunately for myself, I never had any breathing problems. The only thing that I really had regarding that was my chest. My chest felt a little tight, and it felt a little inflamed, and I developed a little bit of a cough. But that was about it. I lost my sense of taste and smell for 4 days, and if anything, it really gave me an appreciation of my taste and smell, and made me realize how much I actually really take it for granted. Because within that 4 days, I became severely depressed, so it really weighed on me mentally, which is another thing that they found out about COVID, is that it does affect the brain. And so it was a tough battle mentally for myself during those 4 days. Luckily enough, my sense of taste and smell started to return after 4 days. And like right now, like I'm up in the mountains, and when I was coming up here, I could smell horse manure, and I was thrilled to death that I could actually smell horse manure. So I'm really glad and grateful that it did come back very soon, especially opposed to hearing to other people who've had stories where their sense of taste and smell didn't return for months. So I'm really blessed in that department. As we know, COVID sucks, everyone. You don't want it. I had a mild case and it was still horrible, so please make every effort that you can to help each other out. Wash your hands, wear a mask, social distance, and don't go out unless you have to just go for the bare essentials, which is groceries or medical attention, or the McRib, because the McRib is back, and that's essential and important too. But please make every effort, especially to help out the doctors and nurses, because they're being overrun. We just keep dumping on them, and they really do not deserve to put up with our crap. They really don't. So please make every effort. As they say, they are the real heroes during this time of COVID, and they really are. So please help them out. And I would also like to give a shout out to the unsung silent heroes of COVID-19, which is Jack Daniels and all of his alcoholic buddies, because they have certainly made every effort to help us out as well. Almost forgot. Things I did to help get me through. First of all, I'm not a doctor, so please consult your physician if you have any questions. However, I did take shelf medication, which was recommended to me by other people who had COVID and by the CDC. So I took Mucinex to help keep my lungs clear. I took Bare Aspirin to prevent blood clots and strokes, because you don't want that. I also took Tylenol for fever and headaches. I did not have heroin on hand, however, I do not recommend that. And what else? Water. I drank water and Gatorade like you would not believe. I could not get enough of it. I was so dehydrated the whole time when I had COVID that I could not get enough of water and Gatorade. So you're going to want to have that on hand if you do get COVID. Anything else? I also took lots of hot showers as much as I could because it felt good, and because Amy Adams was unwilling to come over and give me sponge baths. So there's that. Finally, though, one of the biggest things of all is humor. If you can find any kind of way to make yourself laugh, or for everyone out there, if you have the ability to make somebody laugh who does have COVID, please do so, because it really does help. I don't care how silly and hokey it is, or sarcastic, or dark and morbid, humor is always one of the best medicines.